The underhook position and the tie clinch are pretty much the primary clinches in MMA, and they have more disadvantages than they have advantages.
So the knockout of Stipe by Daniel Comier, what happened and how do you prevent that from happening? Because there's a lot of guys getting these ugly clinch wars, and it's just a lot of wasted energy, it looks like.
Well, first and foremost, grappling is a must and a primary skill set of fighting that you have to have for MMA. And it's very fatiguing, and it's very slippery, fatiguing, and it's very hard to generate a lot of power when your whole body is contracted like a snake for 30, 40, 50 seconds, a minute or something like that. So it's a skill set you cannot avoid, but there are some major principles and stuff that are not followed very well that could minimize how much energy they expend to try to pick a human being up that weighs just as much as you and try to slam them on a mat or mattress. It doesn't do you any good when you could have spent that energy getting to the hit or setting up a punch or a strike or something like that. It's very easy to knock somebody out in a clinch if you position your body right. That really was a clinch that didn't even last 2 seconds. There wasn't really a whole lot of control there. It wasn't one of these grueling grappling things where they're going back and forth like this, and there didn't need to be. Daniel Comier threw a wild haymaker that Stipe didn't even see. Watching that video is, if you don't have to lock down into some kind of clinch, don't do it. Right? Only use the clinching for a couple reasons. Well, when you absolutely have to, like if you're tired, maybe you're trying to control the person because you know you're stronger, or you can tactically, what I mean by tactically is use your energy surgically in order to put them in a position to set up a hit. But just to try to grapple somebody, or wrestle somebody, and try to entangle with them in here and get all these underhooks and overhooks, and your legs are out of position and your hips are all this way, which is what was, Stipe was, and Daniel Comier. Stipe had no ability to even, there was no time, nor was he even mentally aware to even be able to grab a hold of Daniel Comier at all. Stipe's arm, his left arm was down here, right? His left arm was dangling down here like this. So it was very easy for Comier just to kind of grab him, here, they call it an overhook. It wasn't really a secured overhook. And he just threw a wild punch and just knocked, and then, so that would have knocked out perception. He's not mentally aware in close range. B, he's got no defenses in here, so that goes along with perception. No perceptual defenses, no physical defenses going on.
How do you protect yourself in that situation? What's the best way to defend in there, or take position where it's going to nullify their attack?
Anytime you're in close range or grappling range, and when I define close range is anywhere from touching distance without having to step. So if I'm in a stance and I can reach out and touch you with my longest or closer weapon in here, right, all the way down to contact range in here like this. Okay, body-body contact. Okay, that's what we call a close range, or what we call a kill zone, which means that is super dangerous. So anytime you find yourself in there, okay, whether you're in the middle of the cage or especially against the cage or the ropes if it's in a ring, is that you need to be very compact to minimize your targets. In other words, you should be operating basically into a shield in here like this, ready to slam or ram yourself into the guy in here, or let him ram him into you in here like this. You need to be hiding behind your defenses in here, almost like if you were a gladiator in here. Right? You got your shield up in here like this, and you got your sword in here. You're not out here like this, standing in close range. At long range, yeah, no problem, because you can't get there, as fast as you can get right here. Right? But when you're right here like this, and I can just reach out and grab you, or just reach out and throw a technique like Daniel Comier had, and you're just standing there with your body all long like this and not aware, that is, you're not going to be able to avoid that. In grappling, in the clinching, there's basically several ways to concepts or principles that to follow for grappling. And most of the time this is always going to happen when you have to counter grapple back, okay, in a clinch. You should be countering grappling back, A, to avoid going to the ground, to getting thrown or tripped or taken to the ground, okay, alright. Or you should be counter grappling back in here so this person who's trying to grapple with you, may try to hit you, which Daniel Comier did. Right? Daniel Comier had no intentions on trying to take him down. He wanted to hit him, right? So you should be clinching here if you're tired and you need to buy rest. Maybe you're hurt, but when you clinch, in order to control somebody, and so where you have the most neutrality, what I mean by that is that you can access all your weapons, or most of them, is that you're pulling your hips into his, and you actually are making body-body contact. So by pulling him in, subconsciously I'm like, yeah, he can't hurt me in here, which is true, okay? But you're also in a position where you can't do anything either. So if his arms are on top of mine in here like this, and he locks down on me, which would he be in an overhook, I can't get out. Right? Especially with gloves on, it gets caught in here. If he really clamps down in here like this and lowers your center of gravity in here, I'm screwed in here. So there's the minimum amount of weight transfer that you can deploy when you're going like this, right? I can't hit the person in here like this because my arms are entangled, okay? So unless I can get an arm out and get it free in here like this, that's different. But when you pull your hips in here like this and you underhook in here, the only really advantage of doing this is you're in a completely defensive position and you can maybe pick the person up and body lock and throw them. That's it. Now in wrestling circuits, it's very important, but you're not getting punched in the face in wrestling, you're not getting elbowed, you're not colliding heads in here like this. So if someone got me like this, underhooked me like this in the street, their head would be torn off. I would bite the shit out of their eye socket, I'd rip their ear up, I'd headbutt them in here like this. My arms are on top in here, right? But we're talking about the cage, you can't do that. Irregardless, even with the cage, you're still in a very inferior position. And you're putting yourself in a position to get taken down yourself because your hips are close to his. So it's a matter of who's gonna play this footsie game in here. I could pull somebody in like that. That's what you're saying, how do you stay there, right? I could pull somebody in, with a basic headlock in here like that, right? Which is pretty silly too, right? Because his arms are free. Right? Anytime the guy's arms are still free and you're holding on like this, like you're hugging, there's no advantage of doing that. You're actually at a disadvantage of doing that because he's going to crush you right in the face. Okay? So a lot of guys will come into the Thai clinch in here like this, the Thai plum, and they'll pull in here. Right? This is a little better to some degree because at least your arms are on the outside. You can kind of block a little bit, but this has still got a lot of problems too. Because the problems with this is, again, you're not controlling his limb. You need to at least get a hold of one of his limbs. One of them. But you really got to pull away to do it in here like this. And most of those guys aren't very effective. And the guy still can move his torso and hit. So the guy's got me in here in a Thai clinch like this. I still can just, I can hit him in his body's completely free to haul off on me. Boom. Right? He's got me here like this. I can just walk through a loopy out of control punch and you're not even looking, catching here. So that's kind of a piece of shit clinch too. And some people use a neck, they use it as a neck hook, but a shield would be as you drive this elbow in, right? So come over here and see this side here, over my, right? Is I'm going to drive this in, so on defensive purposes in here, I'm going to drive this elbow in, and I'm going to violently take my hand in here, my index finger, and I'm going to hook right below his ridge back. Why do I want to step offline on this guy? Is because, so I'm further away from his punching hand. I can pull and replace that thing out of here like that. If I'm underhooked, ram yourself into the guy in here, or let him ram him into you in here like this. You need to be hiding behind your defenses in here. Body contact. He tries to drop down to me and take me down. Right, this is just going to ram right into his body in here. Or we can get clinch in here like this. So I'm kind of just pushing his arm down, trapping his arm, grabbing it. Right,